Welcome back, everybody. Continuing on with the Super Pro 81. Our last little bit today is going to be installation of the fuel line and the carburetor. Pretty straightforward. You need a gasket, a fuel line, the carburetor, a few other things. Here's our fuel line. And this molded fuel line leaks. And something you can do is take your Teflon tape and put a few wraps of Teflon tape around this. That's a pretty simple little trick to stop that thing from leaking. Rather than use some sealant that may be ate up by the fuel, just use a little bit of Teflon tape. Doesn't hurt a thing. I usually put about 2 or 3 wraps around it. And that's it. That's just enough to make it a nice snug fit. And then what you got to do is fish this in through your fuel tank into the hole right there of your fuel tank. Kind of tricky. There it is. There it is. Once you get it started in there. No, that didn't work. This might take a few attempts. It's already twisted up. It was on another chainsaw, believe it or not. I just stole it because I don't have a new one yet. But I want to get this saw done. So I took it out of a pretty cool little chainsaw I put together several years ago. I wanted a Super Pro 70. Could not find one. And I ended up making one out of a 710 and some other Super Pro parts. Worked out really well. It's a heck of a good running chainsaw. Oh, come on. Like I said, this is pretty tricky. Getting this thing to line up through that hole. Come through. This might take me a few minutes. Tricky little thing. Need 3 hands. Almost. Got it. Had old flashlight with my mouth. Poke that down in there. Get it turned the right direction. And then you just kind of pull your fuel line into the hole. You can see my Teflon tape there sticking out. It may be an eyesore to some people, but you know what? It works. Alright. There's that. Carburetor. This carburetor has the boot for the long adjustment needles. This is an SDC, Walbro SDC 37A. Not sure if that shows up on camera very well. SDC 37A. And it will work perfectly for me. The first thing you got to do is get your throttle linkage hooked up. That's the first part. Putting a carburetor on this thing. Then you twist that sucker around. Line your boot up. I almost forgot. I almost forgot. I need a gasket. Gets to have a gasket. Let's put that in place. This will be a pain in the butt too, because it's got to line up and there's nothing holding it. It's just there. It'll take me some finagling to get that on, because it's going to inherently move. Let's try it this way. Let's try this. Put that on first. Put our gasket in there. See if I can do that. I don't think my chances of success are great, but you never know. Might surprise yourself. Huh. Apparently the chances are good. Now we gotta hook our choke linkage in. Got it. This is also a 5/16. This does not have to be so darn tight that it goes clear through and pokes out your boot. You get an air leak. It's enough to seal. I think we're good. All right, I got my choke linkage in. It's working. Hook my throttle linkage up, which is up under here. Goes into this hole with the trigger, just like that. Throttle linkage is working. Choke linkage works. Hook up my fuel line to the side of the carburetor. Pretty easy job there. Carburetor's on. That was pretty simple. All right, so now let's go ahead and put my starter on. So I got me a cool starter here. It's been powder coated. Nice shiny black stuff here. I got a 3D printed screen. This came from a guy out in Iowa. Pretty cool feller. Let's see, what's the hold up here? Too big. The trick here is to come on. Got it. Trick is to line up the starter dogs with the starter male end, I guess you could call it, and get it to pull over. I'm going to get my 3 screws in here. Hold this thing in place. This top left one goes into your manual oil pump. Of course, the other two do not. They just go into the case. I have found these broken off. Saws I've gotten from people, parts I've gotten from people. Over tightened and broken clear off. You must be careful on these old saws not to over tighten. And that's true for any of them. Now, there's also a screw that goes right here, one right here, and there's one in the front. And you can use whichever you choose. This one I'm going to put up here. And I'm pretty sure that's where that goes. I'm going to have to get a couple more for the front and the side of the starter cover. Nice. Looky there. You got some. Cool. Now I need a couple more screws. Here they are. I put these away yesterday. This one will go in the side. These are just slotted screws, and then there's one up front. There's a little keeper piece of metal on this front one. I'm not putting that in. I'm not that concerned about it. And one thing you don't want to do is tighten everything down before you get all your screws in. Kind of puts a kibosh on it. Things don't want to line up all the time. You got to do it again. Let's get this front one in. That's better. This is starting to look like a chainsaw. Pretty fast. Now another thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put the clutch on. I'm not going to put a bar and chain on it just yet. There are a few things I want to do. One is getting it run before I go put everything on it. Make sure it's going to oil. But if something doesn't work and I got to take this back apart, I do not want to have to mess with oil. It is a pain in the butt. So I will not put any oil in it. So I will not put a bar on it. Alright, looky there. We have our starter looking real good. This is going to be my matching clutch cover. This is powder coated yellow. You can tell it's a little bit off. The color doesn't fit perfect, but it's really nice. Okay, I'm going to need a fuel cap, air filter, which I have a brand new air filter. Put that on. This is all external adjustments. Move my idle screw down to where it's just touching. Okay. There's that. I forgot to get my top cover out. And I will get that, and that'll be on the next video. I got to put the top cover handle in. It's powder coated black, and I don't have it together. I was kind of getting in a hurry. I'm getting excited about starting this thing. But I'll get the inner bar plate on, clutch, then I'm going to take it out, fuel it up, and get it running. Last thing, like I said, will be the top cover, which I've got it here in my box of parts. It is purdy, powder coated black, and I got to put the knob on it, but it will sit right there. That will look nice. I'll do that off camera just because that's going to be boring. Just got to put a ring in it, and that's it. Put a ring on it and go for it. I'll get my fuel cap. And then the last video is going to be this saw running. So there you have it. Went from start to finish of a Super Pro 81. Ran into a few snags along the way, as you saw. Started with a blank engine, split in half, crankshaft on the bench, to a nearly complete McCulloch Super Pro 81. These are very popular chainsaws, and like I said, thanks for joining me in this. Thanks for joining me in this adventure of putting this thing together start to finish. I appreciate it, and I hope you enjoyed this videos. Last one will be me out and about, fueling this thing up and pulling it over, trying to get it to run. It does pull over nice. lots of compression. Now some of you will notice these videos are all backwards. It's because I'm using my phone with the front camera in this holder. So everything's kind of backwards, which I apologize for that, but it is what it is. And that's it. I'll see you at the garage with some fuel in it. I'll talk to you later. Thanks for watching.